Welcome to Into the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Danders, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and I loved you in Scrubs.
Oh, that was your line.
Yeah, that I didn't use on anyone.
You didn't actually use it?
No, I thought about it, but I
Yeah.
was just like, I don't think the first time I want to meet Bitsy Tulloch, and she goes,
What?
and the next time she said, "Yeah, your friend.
Your friend
don't ever bring him around
the
again."
Scrubs thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I was never in Scrubs. And Tyler Hoechlin would have been like,
He would have jumped all on it.
he probably would have like punched me in the face.
No,
Superman style.
Come on. No.
By the way, 2 of the nicest people that
Amazing.
I've ever got to meet.
I absolutely love them. Absolutely love them.
And you start walking away when I started talking to Tyler Hoechlin. I'm like, you go ahead and go. I was like, I was going to say what I wanted to say.
I'm going to slide out and
Yeah.
let you have your moment, man. Because I think that's one of the fun things about what I do, especially if I can introduce you as like, hey, this is a co-host with me. We do this podcast. It gives you just as much of an opportunity to make an impression on somebody as I've gotten to by being a moderator. So, and I think those are the ways that we grow, our brand, our effectiveness, and potential guest lists.
Yes.
So-
Well, that would be nice at some point.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So we'll get there. We are shooting live from the hotel in Portland. We are at Fan Expo Portland, where I've been moderating. Bill has been enjoying the lavish size of this show because it's so big. It's not a big show.
I think I walked 5 laps in about 45 minutes.
That's about right.
And it wasn't a fast pace.
No.
But it was interesting. And that was Friday
Mm-hmm.
when apparently I got in early because there were like, I could have, maybe 30 people at best on the floor.
Yep.
And it could have been more than that because they were spread out.
I mean, it is a very interesting setup of a show, right? We have the actual main stage is on the main floor, which is both a benefit and a hindrance based on other factors, right? So where the celebs are in comparison to the main stage, that can be kind of hard because you've got the celebs that are closest to the stage hearing, the blaring sounds, and so their interactions with fans gets a little tricky. But overall, the building itself is not that big, and that's one of those things that's kind of interesting for a place like Portland, which you would think like has like a lot of events, concerts, sporting events, all kinds of stuff, that their convention center would be massive. I would think it's maybe half the size of Columbus's convention center.
I don't even think it's that
You don't think it's that big? Okay.
Yeah, because I think Columbus has got pretty big.
Yeah, ours is big.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge.
It's not like, say, San Diego big.
Right,
But
right.
it's not that far off.
Right. Like,
it's almost as long, I would say.
Right.
It's just not as deep.
not as deep. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lord knows that's just like a expansion away. No, because the freeway's back there. But
No, they can go into the freeway if they want.
don't say that. Don't say that. It will have construction for another 30, 40 years.
We have it anyway. It doesn't matter.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But it was funny too because I talked to a couple of the guests and they were talking about how small the show was in comparison to New Orleans. And New Orleans' convention center is huge. Like it's a mile long.
Right.
And though we only take like a couple of their halls, this one, like we're taking the whole thing pretty much, and it seems smaller. But what I told them was this is kind of the quiet before the storm, before MegaCon. And every person that I said it to was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. This is like a little stop, but it's smaller, more manageable. We get to, rest up a little bit before we hit MegaCon, which is going to be astronomical in terms of size in all the things.
Well, then I think that a better build-up would be go Portland, New Orleans than MegaCon, because then you're going small.
That's fair.
It's
That's
building
fair.
up, and that's hindsight.
Well,
I mean that's not where you go up to someone and go, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
It's
What are you doing?
No, it's just that, and then you have to, you're at the will of the convention center.
That is also
as well,
true.
because
That
if
is
they're
also
not available, then
And it's not
you gotta
available.
Do it the way you do it.
That's true. Well, I also think that in terms of the economics, I think New Orleans counts as a smaller economic base because the cost of living isn't as high as it is in Portland. And so you expect a lower influx of money in New Orleans, slightly higher in Portland, way bigger in Orlando. So I think from an economic standpoint, it does that. But I think you're right. If you were to switch it in terms of the scale of the event, that would definitely do that.
And actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
it would almost make more sense to do like a traveling road show where it's like it builds up across the United States as opposed to go from the Pacific Northwest all the way to the south. But you're going back and forth.
You are.
Once again, hindsight, and also, I'm not being realistic on that.
No. I mean, I think those are very interesting points, though, especially for anybody that's looking to build like an entire like circuit of conventions.
Yeah.
Because this is also the mark of Fan Expo buying shows here in the States, and they didn't just buy like a single grouping; they bought multiple ones. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they have to do is keep track of what the original, functionality, time of year, and all that stuff was of the original show, and then try to work that amongst all the other things that they bought. So like New Orleans and Portland were part of the Wizard portfolio that they got, and these dates are kind of set from Wizard,
right?
And so that kind of becomes its thing. I think MegaCon changed at some point, but the times that I've done it, it's pretty much always been earlier in the year, right? So I think the first time I did it, it might have been in like spring, like true spring, but like the last 2 years it's been February.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, those are two shows that they purchased, but two separate purchases.
Yeah.
So not even like, oh yeah, we just got this whole portfolio and this is where this goes. And they had to like bring all those things together. The other one that's a big one is like Denver is one that they bought and had no association with MegaCon or, Wizard World. And so making that stick for, that's usually over 4th of July weekend. And it's a huge show, but that's one that you're like, why 4th of July? That's just where it has landed. It has been. And this time, I think for the second year, we've expanded to a 4-day show. That's how much it's grown from the first time that we did it. So,
because, when I think 4th of July, I think,
what do you think?
Denver, Colorado. I think skiing.
It's very patriotic. I actually, if I were to pick based on a holiday, this is an interesting topic. Based on a holiday, what city should you do a Comic-Con? 4th of July, I would say Philadelphia.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Right.
But we do Philly in May. Right. So.
Which I would think that so May is, it's Memorial Day.
Yes. But we do it early May. Well, this time it's like mid-May, but normally, it's usually early to mid-May when we're in Philadelphia, not. And
I almost feel like, Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Right.
Shouldn't that be like something in Alabama?
Atlanta. Something like,
Yeah, somewhere in the South.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting one. Well, okay, so based on that, where would you put New Orleans? What holiday would you?
All of them.
Would you do Mardi Gras? No, I wouldn't want to do Mardi Gras.
Oh,
I feel
God,
like that's,
no, that would be awful.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would be Easter, wouldn't it?
You could do Easter.
Yeah, I think that would make more sense.
Okay.
Easter. Yeah.
Okay. What about Halloween? Would New Orleans have a particular Halloween vibe for you?
God, I almost think that you would have to go to Mexico
to do Halloween.
Yeah, if you want to do it right.
That would be
or Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh no, you're right. Salem, Massachusetts would be spot on.
But as a backup,
yeah,
I think a lot of people will want to go to Mexico.
Go to Mexico for Halloween. It's like, we're gonna go to Comic-Con Halloween.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. That is an interesting idea. Would you do one? I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, Dragon Con is over Labor Day weekend. I don't know if that correlates with anything or just happenstance of when it's fallen. We do have San Francisco over Thanksgiving weekend. That's just kind of a matter of, again, where convention stuff is set up. Is there a place that you would do a Thanksgiving show? Would that also be in a colony area?
No. I wouldn't do a Thanksgiving show. No, because I don't think I want to celebrate that.
Come on.
Because anywhere you put it,
it's going to be problematic.
No, it's not.
So
I mean, Plymouth.
Yeah. We do have a Boston show, so that kind of works. But it makes me laugh because for the longest time, Mid Ohio Comic Con was Thanksgiving weekend, and it's in Columbus, Ohio. So there's kind of a bad reputation right there.
Well, it was even the week before that.
Was it?
Because it was a lot of times it was the Ohio State Michigan game.
See,
and that's back when the Ohio State Michigan game was right before Thanksgiving.
Okay,
and I know because I was there.
You were there. It's funny because I never had done that show until I was like 18, and my parents went to Florida. My sister was in she was in like cheerleading, gymnastics type stuff, and they had a competition in Florida. But I was working at Walmart at the time, and I was not allowed to not work the day after Thanksgiving. So I'm 18 years old. My parents are going out of town. Instead of throwing a party, as most, cool kids would have done, instead, because I had graduated high school already, but instead I find out that there is a Comic-Con that has gone on for years in Columbus, and go to that for the first time. And it was up at I think it was Hilton up at Easton. That was the first time that I had gone there. That's where it was. Yeah. And that was wild. And I think that was the first time that I met like Brian Michael Bendis. I think I met John Byrne that show. Like I met so many people that were in Columbus that weekend.
So that was still with the March of Dimes.
Yeah. Big shout out to Roger Price for he still had it at that time.
I don't think I've ever gone to a Mid-Ohio in Columbus. It was always in Mansfield.
Okay. That was I want to say Mansfield was where it first started.
Yes.
Yeah. And then he moved down to Columbus. I know he moved the show. I don't think he lived here or in Columbus. I forgot where we were for a second.
Well, here's fine too, because I knew what you meant.
I can't remember if Roger actually lived there or not, but he moved it down there, and then through a series of sales, that's how Wizard got it. So it was like he sold it to the Dewey Brothers, they sold it to Wizard, and Mid-Ohio went away. But yeah, that was a funny sort of thing where my family used to go to North Carolina for Thanksgiving, so that's why I never knew about it. And was like, what? There's a show? And they're like, yeah, for years. And I'm like,
I'm curious to find out. I have to look this up when it moved to Columbus.
That's a good,
because even when I was in the comic book shop, it was still in Mansfield. It was just in a bigger place.
I got you.
The last one I went to is where I actually met, was introduced to John Byrne. I'd met John Byrne before when I was a younger kid.
Right.
And then it was the first time I've ever seen Todd McFarlane, who was still working on Amazing Spider-Man.
Jeez, that's dope. When it comes to Comic Cons, like how often do you go to shows?
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was Mid-Ohio.
That was just that one?
Because I was a kid.
Right.
And after a while, I just, it was Ohio State, Michigan. I got into sports.
Listen, I totally understand that one.
And I'd been enough, and I'd pared down what I wanted as far as comic books, so I didn't really need Comic-Cons anymore. But they were fun to go to. And then, the last, 13, 15 years have gone to San Diego.
Mm-hmm. You're literally the reason why I went to San Diego.
That was badgering.
It was.
That was work, and to this day, I still don't understand why it took me so long for you to get you to go. And the thing is if you hadn't gone the year you went, that I was done.
Really?
Because I didn't have a way to get a badge.
I got you.
And I think that was even like my desperation move was.
Come on, man!
It's like, you've got to do this. You're like, well, I do know somebody. I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on.
Oh my gosh, it's funny too. It's for me, despite having done so many shows.
Yeah.
I thought San Diego was something so different that you truly had to be invited to go, and I didn't have anyone that I knew specifically that could invite me to go, which is why I was like, I can't go to that show. I don't know how to do that. Stupid.
Yeah, you ask questions.
It was stupid. But I'm so glad that you did convince me to do it, because not only have I enjoyed San Diego, I've actually gotten to do a couple panels while there. So it's been fun. But before that, outside of San Diego, did you go to other shows?
No.
Okay.
And really, San Diego, the only reason I wanted to go there was because of all the movie stuff going on.
Okay.
And the only other con I go to now is CinemaCon, and that's not even a con.
It's not even it's got con in the name.
No, it used to be called Show West, and to make it sound more important, they changed the name to CinemaCon. When you tell people that, they're like, "What is that?" I go, "It's for the industry." They're like, "What do you mean?" I go, "For the movie industry."
Right.
The studios, they present what's coming out for the next year.
Right.
Well, in Sony's case, they presented what was coming out for the next 2 years because they weren't there last year. They were
Right.
the year before. So we got Gladiator 2 and we got Craven.
Okay.
Which I was even less impressed then. And I still haven't seen the movie.
I still haven't either. I
haven't watched Gladiator 2 either. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one.
I mean, I like the first one, but I didn't see a carryover.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know.
But yeah, and they come out and it's the every single one of them the first year I went. Movies were meant to be seen on the big screen. And we're looking at them like and everyone's clapping and I'm just looking and I'll tone down what I normally say. I go, yeah, we know this. So why are you doing the things that you're doing?
That keeps it from going to the big...
This is their way of apologizing without apologizing.
Got you. Mm.
And, you know, the fun thing this year is that you're going to come with me.
Yes.
And you're going to experience all this. And I'm going to go and I'm going to say things to you.
And I'll be like, huh.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
that tracks.
Yeah. He's there.
Yeah.
I think this is super exciting to me because it sounds like a long form Hall H without the line.
So about the line thing.
Oh crap.
We're a small company.
Yeah.
And our CEO wants us all to sit together.
Okay.
So there's people that have to get there
Gotcha.
ahead of time so we were like saving like an entire row. I'm like, why are we doing an entire row? Why don't we just do like the first 6 seats
right
in each row and there's 3 of us.
And then you just back.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's a good idea. I go, yeah, I know. I came up with it. Like sooner or later, you're gonna realize
that
I'm not just saying things to hear myself
You're
speak.
Not just a pretty face.
Yes.
You're like, hey guys, got things.
But that actually got me out of one of the studios that I didn't want. It was a breakfast, and then you had to watch all their stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go stand in line for the next thing. They're like, okay, go.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. And you're like, you're welcome, man.
I'm out of here.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so wait, with this setup, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this more. So studios are hosting specific events that you can go to,
yes,
and they are sharing some of their work,
yes.
But it's not necessarily just like we all line up into a theater and that's the deluge of presentations.
Oh, it's in a theater.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's in the Dolby Theater.
Oh, there. So
it seats like 4,000 people.
Nice.
It's got a balcony to it too. Which the first year I went, it was used, but like exhibitors, they scaled down.
Got you.
So they weren't allowing anybody on top, except when they showed like
something major.
They'll show movies in there.
Okay.
So that's where I saw The Fall Guy.
Okay.
There were 2 other movies, and I was just like,
you get to see the full movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch it when it came out.
Because you were like, I saw it already.
I've seen it.
Okay.
And I was just like, hey, remember that scene we saw?
That was the same.
That's the same thing. it was pretty much the movie.
Okay. That's cool. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. So before we get out of here, is there one more thing that you want to try to see in Portland before you go? You said this was your first time out here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The airport. I'm gonna go on the floor one more time.
Okay.
But I will say that of the was it 3 panels that I watched? The Superman one was
amazing.
Was probably the most fun, and it less to do with the actors. But Bitsy was great.
Bitsy too. Like so for those that don't know, she took over my role as moderator and moderated the 4 Supermen that were there. So it was Tom Welling, Dean Cain, George Newbern, and her own Tyler Hoechlin, which was amazing. Like the vibe was great. I love the energy from everybody. We have to have her do that again sometime. That was good.
And then Tyler Hoechlin has to moderate a Grimm.
Yes, he does.
Panel.
Yes, he does. Which is only fair. Although I feel like that would turn into a weird sort of Batman v Superman with Lois in the middle, because her husband voiced Batman in Cape Crusader, and I really just want to play with that because that's silly for no good reason.
I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That definitely should happen.
I agree. So we'll run that up the food chain and we'll make that happen. Thank you guys for tuning in. We thoroughly appreciate you joining us. Once again, for Into the Chatterverse, I'm Victor Dandridge, the heart's recommending comics.
And I'm Bill in Portland. Thanks for having me.
Yay.